So, I love looking for strong companies that are strong on a technical basis and fundamentally and fit the macro story. Ulta is perfect right here. It's sitting on the 200 simple. It has earnings coming up. They've seen really consistent growth and they have huge brands. They have the Kardashians as well as Kylie Jenner makeup there. I'm looking for this to trade higher going into earnings, and I also don't think it's going to be hit by the interest rate narrative.
All right, you like Ulta. You also like Ford, which that one's been, it was really good for a while last year. It's had a tougher start to the year now. Why pick it up here?
I think it's a perfect time to pick it up here because it has faded from last year. Everyone was buying it last year, probably up at the highs when news was coming out about the Ford Lightning. But right now, what we're seeing is it's pulled back about 24% from those highs, giving investors a discount. Ford is having problems with the semiconductor shortage, but they still have really high demand, and their new factories are going to be able to produce a lot more vehicles next year. They've also just announced a dividend. So, you can see that earnings are going well, and I think we're going to see a lot of future growth in this name.
All right, so you see momentum behind Ulta and Ford and also CloudFlare. That's one that we saw a nice run up last year. All of a sudden it hit, some tougher slog along with the rest of the market. Did they just report earnings? Tell me about CloudFlare, why you like it.
So, I love to look for strong companies post earnings, and with CloudFlare in particular, the cybersecurity space is set to continue to grow at an exponential rate in the coming years, especially because of work from home. And this is just a space that has increasing need. And the reason why I like CloudFlare is because it's not one of the top names that you think of, and they have a lot of potential for high growth, especially because they have noted over the course of the last 5 years, they've been growing about 52% each year, and they finally got to break even on earnings 2 quarters in a row. So I think that because the valuation has come down substantially, it's going to give investors a much better entry than what they would have had last year when this stock was hot.
All right, now let's get to your bails because they're kind of juicy today. This is not, Zoom and Peloton you're bailing on Disney, you're bailing on Adobe, you're bailing on Salesforce. So with Disney, let's start there, Danielle. What do you think is wrong with the stock right now?
So first of all, I just want to note that I am going to hold my long-term shares in the name because I think long-term it makes sense to continue to hold on to this company. But as a trader, I think that this is great to short right here because it just came out with a fantastic earnings report and it's traded directly into resistance. What we've seen this quarter are strong companies that have had explosive moves, and those moves immediately fade. So while I'm holding my long-term stock, I'm just selling the calls on a short-term basis for a post-earnings fade.
And what does that tell you, the reaction, because we have focused a lot the next day for Microsoft and some of these others, but all of a sudden in the couple of weeks as the dust settles, you say they're trending lower again.
Yes, they absolutely are. And I think that's a huge concerning point for the stock market right here, because when you have companies like Microsoft and Google and Amazon have these phenomenal moves on earnings and those moves fade immediately, it's a bad sign. And that's why I'm looking at the upcoming reports in some cloud companies, Adobe and Salesforce, because these are already hanging out down on their lows and these stocks look ready to break any moment. So again, as a long-term investor, I am going to hold Adobe shares and I am going to hold Salesforce shares, but I think they're going lower right about now. They're about to break current lows, and I think it's a good short-term short as a trader.
Very interesting. And when would you exit that trade or that position?
So for Adobe in particular, it's sitting right at about 485. I think you could trade it down to about 450. Salesforce, it's sitting around current prices around 200. Let's see, where are we at on Salesforce? Yeah, 210 right now. Thank you. So I'm targeting about 175 on Salesforce, and I'm particularly concerned about this upcoming report because if you look at the way that Salesforce failed last quarter on earnings and gap down. I mean, this quarter, if we get another gap lower, it could really bring in some substantially lower prices.
Very, very interesting. A lot to think about, Danielle. As always, we love having you. Thank you so much.